like to say a few words about electronic navigating. Uh, it's come a very, very long way, and it's a wonderful thing. It really is. I've been on the water so many years now. You know, uh, pre-GPS, pre-LORAN, when we were using radio directional finders and celestial navigating, which when people talk about the good old days of navigating, all I can say is you weren't there, because the good old days of navigating was when they called it dead reckoning in those days, they were absolutely right, because when you reckoned wrong, which was a lot of the times, you could be very dead. Uh, so now we have this light show with even boat moving right across, and you can see exactly where you are, and GPS and satellites are up in the sky, and it's a phenomenon. It really is a phenomenon. But with that phenomenon also comes some issues, and some issues that you have to be paying attention to. Electronic charts come in two forms, vector and raster. You know, I don't want to get into a big thing about the terminology on this stuff, all right? But the reason for a vector chart is they took a regular chart and they take stuff away in order to make the files smaller, all right? So that you can get this little chip, this little CMAP or whatever the chip is that you stick into your navigating equipment, whether it's a big screen thing or it's something that's hooked up with a fish finder. It doesn't matter. There's a little chip. In order to get that information small enough, they had to take a lot of the detail out. Nothing wrong with that, except who's taking it out and when did they take it out. A lot of the vector charts come out of former Soviet Union Eastern Bloc countries, or so they tell me anyway. And they have people sitting down, and what they're doing is removing information, and instead of seeing the coast as a line as it actually exists, it's all done in jagged lines, and a lot of the ground detail that's unnecessary is taken out. But I've been in two instances, and one very recently, last fall, and one just a couple of years ago, where certain buoys, critical buoys as a matter of fact, were removed by accident or whatever. And, you know, so you're looking for a turning point, especially in tough situations, and you're looking for a specific buoy, and that buoy is not on the chart. It's just not there. I know it was there because I'm carrying a paper chart, so I can see. Carrying chart kits actually is pretty much what I use when I'm doing coastal stuff. I see the buoy on a chart kit on a little vector screen. It's not there, just missing. And that can get you completely turned around. A few years ago, we were off the coast of Marathon, coming in from Naples in some tough weather, trying to find a channel, and because of a hurricane that had passed by just 6 or 8 months earlier, the buoys were all off station. They changed the channel, and I had the latest chart kit, and we had a light show because I was on a Shannon, which meant we had big screen GPS, we had everything you could possibly imagine, and none of that was working. So a total dependency on this and not paying attention can lead to some terrible, terrible surprises. So personally, I prefer raster charts when I'm navigating. That's what I carry. I carry a tablet that's a daylight viewable tablet because I'm jumping from boat to boat. And I put MapTech raster charts in there because those raster charts happen to match the same charts. They are scanned charts that nobody's screwing around with these things. This is a chart, the best we can get at the time. They may not always be all that accurate, but it's the best chart we can get at the time. So a raster chart is a scan chart. So when you're looking at the chart kit and you're looking at the screen, laptop or whatever you happen to be using. You're looking at the same chart. And I find that very, very comforting because at least if there is a foul up, as we had down in Marathon, where the chart kit couldn't possibly be right because it was only 6 months since the hurricane blew the buoys away, uh, the land, shape of the land and the towers that was sticking up, radio towers that was sticking up off a Marathon, I was easily able to get my orientation and figure out what was going on. We were able to turn the boat around, pull out around, and keep jerking around, just looking at the landmass. On one of the, we had two, naturally, Shannon, we had two systems on the boat. Uh, uh, on the vector chart, that was never going to be possible because the land on a vector chart, as I said, is all jagged straight lines. I could have never used the land mass to get me into that place. So personally, I prefer raster charts. The files are much bigger, and you can't use those little chips that they stick in because a little chip this big, they can't have all of these charts on them, even though they charge you a lot of money for them. Uh, so be very, very cautious using this. Always have a paper chart, a board. If all you have is vector charts on your whatever navigating equipment you happen to be using, have a chart kit, easy to use. Uh, Keep them updated every couple of years at least, anyway. And when everything starts to look a little wrong, it's probably because it is, and you can fall back on it. Paper charts, at worst, you're going to be able to look at the landmass. Uh, so summing up, it's a great light show. It's a wonderful thing. It's embarrassing to get lost nowadays with the equipment that we have. But have a paper chart that you can look at all times.